Here we are, a lovely day in Canada, April. Freezing rain. It's horrendous. But I'm gonna take these here lights here and refinish them. So I think I talked about this before a bit, but I started the video quite a while ago. You can see they're pretty shiny, but somebody's used clear coat over top of dirt. No idea why you do that, but I originally thought it might be inside, but you can see here the clear coat's actually chipping off and then you can get the dirt off, so pretty ridiculous. But I've done this before and I bought these guys knowing that was an issue, so I got my sander here. These pads are, this is 1,000, gonna probably end with that, but these two are 800 and you can see the brand DDMS. I got these, a whole box of them from Amazon some time ago before inflation went crazy, so not sure what they're at this point, but you can get a whole bunch of them. And I made the mistake of last time, I surfaced them and then I polished the hell out of them. You don't need to do that. You just hit it with the 800 till you get down, you get all the clear coat off. Even if this stuff wasn't there, there's clear coat on here, so this doesn't feel like aerosol clear coat to me. It feels like actual professional paint. Again, no idea why they wouldn't clean this or tape it off. I'm just going to sand it down to the dirt and, wipe that off, or keep sanding until you can see that beyond that there's going to be another clear coat. Actually, you wouldn't think that with plastic, but that's how it works. These guys have a clear coat on them already, and you get that sort of haze. You can see some of that there as well. I don't know if that's coming through camera, but the haze there, and that's bad clear coat that's been beat on by the roads. So once we sand it down, you can sort of see some of the feathering and stuff like that happens as you're sanding down. So I'm gonna sand down, we'll see where we get to, but you can potentially put clear coat over top of the other clear coat if you sand it, and I don't know if I really need it, honestly, to sand it all the way down past the clear coat that's been added and the clear coat that's underneath the dirt. Ideally you take that off, I think, so you don't see any of those sort of feather marks where you've sort of sanded down beyond it and where the actual clear coat is obviously coming up. So it's hard to get it all, but we'll see how good of a job we can do here, and it's going to look very matte after I'm done. So when you're putting the clear coat on, it's a lot like when you pour water on something like this, and you're like, oh, it looks shiny. If you're doing any wet sanding and stuff like that, you notice that it's like all of a sudden shiny, obviously, when you put the water on. It's a very similar situation where you're filling all those little micro scratches, but with the clear coat 2-part that I'm going to use later. So this is the proper way of doing it. Whether I'm going to sand it down properly or not, it's a different story, because I don't know where the rest of my sandpaper is, and I maybe need something a little more aggressive. Like you could potentially do 600 and then 800 and then 1,000. But I think 800 is good enough to leave it. So I'm just gonna see where we're at when we get there. But first order of business is just sanding it. Real quick, I just clogged off the back. I got one of these on there, but the other one didn't have one, so it looks like hell. But just try and tape it over. I stuffed it actually with paper and stuff first, and then put that over top. Doesn't look pretty, but just want to stop the dust, because if the dust does get in there, it's a major problem. And side note, these are projector lights. So if you have LED bulbs and you don't have the projector lights, then it's gonna blast out everywhere. If you have these, you'll get that nice hard line you might notice on your new car. You turn on whatever, low beams, high beams, you can see like a line where it just cuts off. And that's obviously not going into the eyes of people. So it's one thing to have brighter lights, but if you don't have these, brighter bulbs, but if you don't have these, and you have an older car, it's going to blow. It's a floodlight situation, so it's not directed at all. It reminds me a lot of a projector, like an actual overhead projector. You get that hard line to it as well, so that's how that works, and a lot of people don't know that. But start sanding and I'll show you what it looks like. Here we are partway through. You can see right here, I'm focusing. Hopefully you guys can see this, but you can see right here there was like a lot of these drip marks. You can see these drip marks still, so I haven't gone deep enough, but it does look like the clear coat, whatever they sprayed it with, is fairly thin because it's going through it pretty quickly. So focus, there it is. So So yeah, you can see here, whatever that is coming off pretty easy, but whatever layers underneath could be a lot thicker, or at least it doesn't seem to be feathering like I thought it would be. But I don't think we really need to, as long as it looks pretty good, as long as we get that dirt off. I think you get a pretty good surface after that. So I'm going to keep going down until I get all these little lines off, but it's going quite quickly with the 800, so I'd suggest starting with that for sure, and we might end up doing the 1000 grit after, but okay, so it's hard to see, but this bottom rim here, kind of dusty, but I'm getting quite happy with that because I can't see any of the lines anymore, so dirt lines, that is. One other thing, you're going to want to, if you're going on a flat surface like this, obviously the sander's flat, so you're going to go across that, but be careful with these edges, because just like with the sanding wood, if you go right here, it's going to just shave off the top of that and sort of round it off. So you're probably going to want to do this surface, and then do a little bit on that, and you know, try not to overdo it because it's going to round off the whole thing. But it's coming together pretty good. I know it doesn't look like much now, but you just got to try and see through the matte sort of finish and hope that you know, if that's got a clear coat on top of it, it's going to be nice. This is light number 2 I'm working on here. There's a spot up here too. I mean, if you have scratched out lights like this, maybe you want to do the same thing. Maybe they're not hazy, just scratched up, but I think you could resurface them, so gotta be careful of this though also after I'm done. Alright, I got them both pretty sorted out at this point. Just going through them and trying to figure out, you know, get rid of some of the dust and figure out what's still there. I can see sort of a mark here. You can probably see that, and one here, so I'm going to go over that again. Alright, it's better. Kind of hard to see again, but through all the fadedness. One thing I'll say is doing this in the daylight is probably a massive advantage, because you can see those little bits and whatnot. There's a bunch of little chunks of stuff stuck in here from the sanding process as well. I notice as I'm moving it just sort of moves it along, whether it's little bits of plastic or what. So you're going to need to wipe that off. Make sure you use something clean, very clean. Paper, I mean, you can use paper towel, but that has a bunch of little bits in it as well, so similar to when you're painting a car, you don't want those bits on there. So we went over it just now with 1000 grit, and I honestly think it did help a bit. Took out some of the swirls. That's the other thing, you're gonna get swirls from the sander. So you get a bit of an even haze, and it's a nice fresh pad too. Seems to have taken off all those little bits, quite a few of the bits. Getting ready to paint here. This has got a bit of, yeah, this worries me a little bit here. I don't know how deep it is, but there's a bit of texture there. But you run your hand over everything, you can get a pretty good idea of what you're dealing with. Alright, so I'm about ready to spray, and I'll tell you, I'm not even going to actually wipe these down with anything. I'm just using my hand like as I go with these plasticky things, so you can sort of rub it on a cloth to clean it off again, but it's taking off a lot of the dust. I mean, I don't know if it's static or whatnot, but I'm not seeing any really dusty areas that I'm too worried about. I thought it'd be really dusty, but it's not, because it's so fine, I guess. But the other thing is, like I said, don't forget, I mean, you're wetting this down almost like with water, so whatever those little bits are, they're just gonna be drenched basically in the epoxy 2-part paint. So I'm not too worried. I'll tell you that's what I'm doing, and you can look at the end result. But one other tip I'll say is, one, you should probably have your spray paint warm. You can do it in the cold like I'm doing. It's maybe 0 today, maybe 1 or 2 degrees. But I think your actual paint has to be warm, and you probably have to bring in the warmth after. And the other thing is, you're gonna want to, or I've made this mistake before, where if you think about painting it the way it's going to be viewed on the car, this is how it's going to be viewed. I'm not going to see really any of the under lip. That's something you should focus on. I one time did upholstery and I totally messed up where the bottom looked beautiful and the top was messed up, and you can't see any of the bottom, of course. I actually got it mixed up where I thought the top was the bottom, bottom was the top on these boat seats. And but that's something you should maybe keep in mind. You know, if you spray it initially and then you sort of get it tilted up and get the bottom part, and you know the top is sort of how you want it, especially if you're only doing one coat like I might end up doing, then that's something to keep in mind. But the nice thing about clear coat too is that it doesn't, obviously, I mean, if it gets on plastic or whatever, you're not really going to see it. All this stuff is covered by the hood you got here. Everything here is going to be covered, so I'm not too worried. If you want, you can tape it off, but for me, I think I'm just gonna focus it where it needs to be. So hitting it with that stuff, and then of course wearing gas mask too. This stuff is not your standard paint, so I gotta go grab my gas mask and some other stuff. But all right, so here's the stuff I'm using. This can looks like hell. It's been kicking around with a bunch of other cans and moved around. Somehow it got wet, so excuse the printing on this, but this Max 2K stuff, I tell everybody about it. It's got the cap on the top. That's how you know it's two parts. This one says clear glamour. Of course, that means it's shiny. There is ones you can get that are matte. They have a whole bunch of them. You can get stuff, I don't know if Max 2K makes it, but they make the bed liner as well. But the difference between this is I've been painting all sorts of bikes all throughout my life, and you know, stuff like that when I was younger, and I remember one time I put like 7 coats of primer, tons of top coats, and it just chipped and flaked off. So when you go to the wrecking yard and you see those old cars, they're still nice and shiny and they look better than your car, it's because they got the 2-part on there. So they put 2-part primer, you can get that on an actual car finish, but if you just use this stuff, it's just, I'm telling you, it's way better. It's like 100 coats of other stuff. It just is rock hard when you're done, and you'll see after we're done these lights that it just looks great. So I tell everybody about this stuff. Whether you do an auto body, you're going to go through the work of actually, you know, grinding it down, you might as well, you know, just encapsulate it in this nice clear coat. So you can get this on Amazon. That's where I got this. And like I said, there's matte ones and other primers and stuff like that. If you want to put like multiple coats, that would be amazing. You'll actually get to finish on your car that was similar to what was on there before you started grinding. So what you're going to do is you're going to just pop this off, you stick it in there, and you puncture the bottom of the can. So just like with professional paints, you got to mix the 2 parts together, and that's what gives it that rock hard sort of finish. It's similar to, you know, epoxy. When you mix the 2 bits together, it's just rock hard after. So that's what's happening. But once you puncture that, somehow you have, I think the can says something about 2 days. You have to read it. I've never used it for that long. I usually use it up as much as I can because they are expensive. They're like 30-40 bucks a can. But in this case, I got 2 things I'm doing. The hitch, which I hate it when they're brown, so I'm going to try and hit that up. And obviously the lights here that I was talking about. So I'll hit it up. Like I said before, nice thick coat so that it actually has a gloss. Just sort of self-leveling a bit if you make it thick enough. So, and it's cold out here, so not too bad cold-wise, but I'll probably try and take it inside and let it be in there. So shake the hell out of the stuff too. Don't forget to shake it. So I'm going to do that, and I'll show you guys the end results. One other thing, I am going to wear this ridiculous gas mask right here. It's say what you will about it. I mean, it's a good gas mask. It covers your eyes and everything, but if you actually take out the filter and you put your hand over top, you can't even breathe through it. So I know some guys have problems with their beards, and I don't know, there's some sort of issue with that where the air's getting through. No chance it's getting through on this thing. So might be ridiculous looking, but don't spray paint with this. This is not normal spray paint. If this goes in your lungs, it's staying there forever. So please guys, use a mask, whether you're outside or not, just do it. Gonna drip, unfortunately. So here we go. This is, it is cloudy. Cloudier than I remember. I remember my other ones got cloudy, but a little worrisome. Maybe I'll get the heater going in here. Just warm it up a bit. Okay, thank God these things are milky white. Got some heat on them. They seem fine now. Nice and glossy. Wouldn't have minded giving them another coat, but it's pretty damn good. It's not even close to being cured yet, so loving it. There we go, shiny. Loving it. You get a bit of what they call orange peel, but if you're picky about that, you can go back over it and sand it, I'm sure. Polish it and do all that stuff, but honestly, this is beyond good for me. There it is, guys. Hopefully your project went just as well and a lot easier than sitting there and polishing it, obviously. So, thanks a lot, guys. Like and subscribe. Cheers.